Yeah, my name is Stefan Jordan, and one of my one of my duties in Gaia is managing the public outreach within our DEPA consortium. What I want to know before I really start is, can you see also that it is a video that works? Does it relatively fine work for you? You see, so this is how Gaia scanned the sky for our next data release, or also for the early data release, which was published in 2020. And so you see how Gaia changes its attitude in time. Before I start, I would just want to mention that Gaia, of course, is big teamwork in order to get astronomy done, in order to get science done, and more than 400 astronomers and software engineers divided in 9 different coordination units are actually doing the work to produce the Gaia catalog, which are the basis for a lot of science that is done in astronomy. And here in this picture, you see about half of the consortium, which has met in 2018 in Padua. And within our consortium, the ones who are responsible for managing the outreach is Eduard Massana and me. And of course, we are closely coordinating the outreach with ESA. Our main contacts there are Tineke and Iris, and Tineke is giving a talk just after my talk, and I hope that there will be not a lot of overlap. So I try to concentrate a little bit on things which she probably will not mention when she talks about all the products which are there. Yeah, so reaching out the public with Gaia. So how many people will know what Gaia is? And if you go even further, you can ask who know ESA. And of course, Gaia is one of the most successful space missions, not only of ESA, but in the whole world. And one sign of the current popularity of space missions is the large number of items of clothing bearing the NASA logo. Unfortunately, that is not the case as much for the ESA. So, but you can go to Amazon and order ESA t-shirts. You can Google it. I found this one. But of course, there is also the space shop where you can buy these t-shirts, and I have one with me. I don't know whether you see it with the camera. That's what I have obtained in a competition in a social event of our Gaia meetings, and thanks to Tineke, I got that in the end. And so if you want to really work on with Gaia, it's sometimes nice to have also the right clothing. But why is Gaia not so well known probably than other space missions? This is very astonishing because the scientific performance is really at the very top of all instruments on either Earth or in space. And on the average, about 5 papers are published every day, which make use of one of Gaia's 3 catalogs that have been published now. And these data are so valuable that it probably can compete with any of the other instruments that you probably know of. And the thing that Gaia makes so special is that it is the basis of many aspects of science. And the main 3 features of Gaia are precision, precision, and precision. And that's something which is not easily understood, why you need sometimes this big precision. But of course, since you know that, for instance, measuring the parallax of a star needs an extremely high precision, you know that how valuable Gaia is in the end. But the question is, how do the Gaia results look like? Basically, before I come to that, I just want to mention why is Gaia so popular also in the scientific publications? Because it has influence on basically all areas in astronomy, not only specialized in a special wavelength region where some objects are only seen in that regime. Basically, you really have to think very hard to find anything where Gaia does not contribute either directly or indirectly. But how do the Gaia data look like? And basically, this is how the Gaia data look like. This is a huge number of huge number of numbers. This is the source. This is the source catalog where you find about all the stars, the almost 2 billion stars of Gaia, the positions, the motion, and the parallax. And you know how important these data are. And in this table, you have more than 100 columns. And this is basically what the scientists really want to see. What makes Gaia so popular as well is that the Gaia data are so easily accessed and they are open for everyone. After the archives have opened, everyone in the world, be it a professional astronomer, an amateur astronomer, or someone who wants to use the data for some school experiments or so, can use the Gaia data. You can either go to the ESA archives or one of the other archives that are available worldwide. And but if we compare these numbers, these extremely valuable numbers, with what other missions like the Hubble Space Telescope does, of course, it's much more difficult to go and get things into the press and get things visible. And we all are people who are visual people. Of course, I very much appreciated this very nice talk on doing astronomy outreach for blind people. But of course, the very popularity of many astronomy aspects is also the prettiness of the pictures. And with Gaia, we can actually do a little bit in that direction by visualizing the data, and I will come to that in the main second part of my talk. Before that, I just want to mention that there, of course, are web pages where you find material about Gaia, the outreach material, but this is something that basically Tineke certainly will talk after this talk, and this is one of the pages where she's responsible for and where she does an extremely good job to gather all that material for outreach and science in that case. There are other nice pages, one which was a little bit in a sleep mode for some time. This is Gaiaverse, which has been created by the University of Barcelona. It has been used in former times with many different languages. Currently, it has started again with English, Spanish, and Catalan. And there you find also information about Gaia. And as far as I know, that will be more active also in the future. And the nice thing is that one can there find then later also information in other languages, which one can because especially if you are doing outreach, let's say for younger people who are not fluently in English, that might help a lot, of course. Then one finds, if one Googles, very nice
60-second adventures in astronomy
videos like this one from Cambridge, which I very nicely find, and I hope you hear the voice.
60-second adventures in astronomy, number 13, taking a galactic census. How do you take a census in space? Keeping track of millions of stars is quite a tricky job, especially as they are constantly moving. Luckily, the new Gaia spacecraft is coming to the rescue from a position of about 1.5 million kilometers from the Earth, ready to do a whole lot of measuring. With its 2 optical telescopes, Gaia will be able to map over 1 billion stars by measuring minute changes of position against the background of other stars. This is known as parallax. And as well as measuring how old and bright they are, by measuring their Doppler shifts, it can tell us whether those stars are moving towards us or away from us. And if that's not impressive enough, by measuring the bending of starlight by the sun's gravitational field, it will be able to test Einstein's theory of general relativity. In the end, Gaia will deliver us a map of the galaxy. And not just any map. It will be in 3D, show us how everything is moving, and help us get a better understanding of how the whole thing began and where it's heading. So taking a census in space will be a much more realistic proposition.
So I have put here also in some cases the QR code so that if you are looking at the slides, you can directly use your mobile phone to start the videos, also others that I show afterwards. Yeah, so then there is outreach material, for instance, by the very active team in Barcelona. There is a memory game, there are bookmarks, there is a 3D constellation for schools. I will show that here. This is, for instance, showing the distances of the stars when you are looking, for instance, at the constellation Orion. Then you see really that it's they are not in the same distance. But so if you look at this from the side, you see that the view that it looks a little bit like the Orion Hunter is only a view from our perspective. And yeah, so there is a material that you can use to build such a model, and there are instructions at the moment only in Spanish, but I think one can also do an easy translation in other languages of that. Then there is a nice set of Gaia posters that you can use for outreach. There are versions in Spanish. The first version was also done by the team in Barcelona, and then others helped to translate that to English, to German, and of course I know that there is also, of course, a Catalan version for that. And so you can go to this link and find this. And if you need some posters to show, get material on a certain aspect, I think that is very, very helpful. However, what really is the only way to make the Gaia data a little bit more attractive, not the only way, but one very important way, is to visualize the Gaia data. And you have seen this this way to visualize the constellation Orion in their distances, but you can also use computer programs to do that. And one of these programs is Gaia Sky, which I used for the following video. I started with an amateur astronomer's picture of the constellation Orion, and then I used blended over in that video to Gaia Sky, and then we are flying through the constellation and see all the stars moving away when we are heading towards the center of this three-star part of the belt guard of the belt part of the Orion. And so we are really seeing that the constellations are three-dimensional, and we are seeing that the stars are at very different distances. So the nice thing is you really can fly through through space, and the stars are at the right positions. They are where Gaia has put them according to the very precise measurements. And Gaia Sky, there is a nice trailer which I show you, has many features, and I cannot go into all the details, but I will show you the trailer. And this is the following one. So it also shows you the planets, not only the stars. And there are tutorials how to use Gaia Sky if you follow this link. These are done by the programmer of Gaia Sky, Tony Zagrista, in our institute, and he will explain in a series of more than a dozen different videos how to use Gaia. And maybe that's something where you can actually have a little bit also of fun in using the Gaia data and visualizing and flying through our galaxy or the solar system. So I think that's a nice tool for Gaia outreach. And here you see the webpage where you can download it, and up there you see that one can also use virtual reality glasses. In the upper right corner, you see the Nobel Prize laureate George Smoot using that and flying through the galaxy. And in the lower right, you see the ESA astronaut Matthias Maurer, who just has been coming back from the ISS, and he also has used Gaia Sky to fly through the galaxy, and he also went to the moon with that, because I think one of his dreams is to go to the moon. So you can use it for many things in astronomy, and so you can download it for Linux, for Windows, for Mac, and I think that is something which needs a little bit of time to use it efficiently, and you can make videos from that. And one of the things where I'm working on in the aspect of outreach is to produce explanation videos showing results of the Gaia mission, but also the concepts of the Gaia mission. And here I see other people using that. And one of the concepts, of course, is the question, how do we measure the distances of stars? And you know, one needs to measure the parallaxes, and the parallaxes are extremely small. And to visualize the parallaxes, I used Gaia Sky to artificially went around the sun, not in an orbit at 1 astronomical units, but in 100,000 times astronomical units, in 100,000 astronomical units. And then you can really see how the stars are moving due to the change of the position with a virtual camera in Gaia Sky. And so I will show you this picture. So we are starting with the inner solar system and move away now from the inner system and go 100,000 astronomical units away from the sun and the Earth. So, and now we'll see, we are almost there, and now you see some stars are changing their positions, because we have now a different perspective than when we were at the position where the Earth is in reality. And we are actually moving 15 trillion times faster than in reality. And now we look at some of the stars and look at them from our perspective. So you see here some well-known constellations, Orion, Gemini, and now we are looking at Sirius, the brightest star in the sky. And in the upper right corner, you see what the camera flying around the 100,000 times larger Earth orbit sees. Now we are going to Procyon which is a little bit closer. So the ellipse from that is smaller. Now Castor is far further away, and so the parallax is much smaller. So you see, you need to exaggerate in order to make the concept of the parallax very clear. And so yeah, you can of course get this video from YouTube or the webpage of the ESA, and yeah, now so. And what we didn't show, this is so to say an artificial long exposure. We see the parallax creates these ellipses in the sky, which is the apparent movement. But of course, in reality, the stars also move themselves, and not only this apparent motion from the parallax is the case. So if we then switch on what Gaia also measures, which is the proper motion of the stars, which is all seen at the same time. So you have both motions added, and then you see that the stars are actually doing this loops, and the stars are no longer. So here you see, for instance, a star cluster, the Hyades, which we will also see in another movement, moving in the same direction, but also, so to say, having the parallax effect at the same time. And if you then also make a long exposure again, then you can see how the stars actually move for Gaia, and Gaia follows the stars in time over some years, the measurement period of Gaia, which will hopefully be extended to about 10 years in the end. Then we can get very precise parallaxes and the very precise movement. And I think that is very instructive to see how stars actually move on the sky from the perspective of our Earth. Yeah, another video shows us a little bit our solar neighborhood. I made this tour for one of the performance verifications for the Gaia EDR3, the early data release that we had in the end of 2020. And there we were moving away from the sun and look at stars which are closer to us than 100 parsec or 326 light years. And so we are now flying outside, and you see stars have different colors. And in total, we have in this area 330,000 stars. And now we'll also see, as you see we see different colors, which are, the stars are colored according to what Gaia measures in Gaia sky. And this tells you something about the temperature of the star. But we can also see the movement of the stars. This proper motion that I mentioned in the previous video is now shown here as arrows. And the larger the arrow is, the faster the star is. But also the direction is indicated in which the stars actually move. And one finds that some of the stars actually, which are close together, are moving in the same direction. Obviously, these are then double stars where both components are bound together. And in the following, I have colored these stars as in yellow. And then you see some of the stars which are moving in the same direction. And how can you indicate that? By switching on in Gaia sky again the proper motion. And here you see that these two stars, by the way, there is another star which is in the background, which was not identified, which obviously also goes in the direction. Here's another double star, how they move. And so you can identify, even with school classes, which know a little bit of mathematics, one can probably find some of these stars which are moving in the same direction. But in the same way, one can find the members of star clusters. And star clusters are clusters of stars which were basically born in some 100 million years ago, and they were born together from an interstellar cloud, and they are moving still together in the direction where the original cloud moved to. And by seeing that they are moving together in space, you can identify the members of the open cluster. And yeah, I will switch that and skip that, and I will skip this one here. Because I think I'm at the limit of my time already, but there are more videos. And if you really are interested, here are the links to my and Tony Sagrista's YouTube channel, where you can find many more videos on Gaia. I also gathered some videos which are not from our video production, but from other people, from media. But you will also find such instructive videos there on this YouTube channel. And one thing that I would also be interested in and want to close my talk with is that since a few months, we had a team of 4 persons active in astronomy outreach for young people, particularly for schools, and had some online meetings. And after Gaia DR3, where I'm so much involved that I don't have time to go into that in detail, we will have more meetings. And if everyone is interested to join this group for outreach and wants to also develop some concepts on how to do outreach more for schools, which is a little bit neglected still in the Gaia outreach, then you can write an email to me and Eduard Massana, who is my deputy manager of Gaia Deepak outreach. And with that, I want to close my presentation and have, of course, a few minutes, hopefully, of time for answering questions.
you for the wonderful talk. It's very overwhelming, the amount of resources and the videos and everything that you're doing. So congratulations. Is there any questions for Jordan? No? Okay, I have a question. So since this was extremely overwhelming amount of information, what would be your advice for someone that wants to start, be it a science communicator, a teacher, anyone that wants to start doing outreach with Gaia? What is the first advice that you give them? Where to go first?
I think the page which Tineke will present will be a good starter, actually. The ESA page where you then find the material. We see now Tineke as well. So I think that's a very good starter. And there is actually some material which is relatively basic. And I really think that this would be a starter in that case. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions? We have two questions. Carmen, please.
Hi, Stefan. This is Karma.
Hi, Carmen.
You have finished your talk with an invitation to participate on this outreach for schools. And so thinking on precisely the aim of this meeting, because the working group 5 in this cost action is devoted to this dissemination, equality, and so on. So I am wondering if could be something organized within the framework of cost also, that we could even don't know, support some exchanges of people visits here and there to promote this action. I think it's well within the aim of this workshop.
Carmen, you are absolutely right. I think what would be a good idea maybe to have a joint meeting with some of the group members, with us, and also with maybe the for people that I've mentioned in my video. Maybe one could have a small online talk in where the different groups can present their goals, and maybe on your side also your results on what is possible there. I really have not had a lot of contact with this group, unfortunately, but I think that's a very, very good suggestion, Carmen.
Thank you. We have another question by Luis Aguilar.
Hi. Hi, Stefan.
Hi.
There's a lot of work on those videos, but I think that perhaps you're missing a little bridge, and it's the following. When you show a video, for instance, in which you exaggerate the effect of the parallax, I understand what is going on, and I appreciate it because I already have a mental picture inside me. But for the general public, they don't have this. So we have to establish a bridge from a familiar situation to the situation you are presenting. Now, since we are very visual beings, this should be easy to do. It's just a matter of starting with a familiar scene in which you present like a landscape with objects at different depths, and then you just move yourself from one point to another, or you show the view from somebody in a car in a highway, and you can see the objects moving, passing by in order to see these effects. And then you go to these videos that you are showing us. I think that will help a lot in order to establish this contact for the general audience.
Absolutely, I agree that you have to start with something and also make clear how small the parallaxes are that have to be measured with Gaia. The 2 coins on the moon. There are many pictures how to visualize that, of course, and the thumb that you are putting different distance and using your 2 eyes. This is also, of course, the starter to tell people about what parallax is. But the video that I was showing wanted to, so to say, go into the stellar area, so into the real world in that case with the exaggerated parallaxes. So both would go together.
Okay. Thank you very much. It was very interesting. We will for sure, in the name of the Working Group 5, we will contact you to have a small meeting and to continue this discussion, okay?
Looking forward to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.